Okay, right, viewing figures, number 1, 5, move them up 16. Good afternoon everyone. Alright, going live. I'll let the figures go up a bit. Just want to show you a sign a minute. Here we go, outside HMP The Mount. Here we go, Crown property, you know, basically telling us we're going to be walking up. Hello everybody. Hello Rosalind. Hello Mary. Let the figures go up to 200. Hello Lisa. Hello Linda. Linda, thank you for everything you do for us. Gary Clark, alright Gary. Ian, hello Ian. Alright Ian, we had a good day yesterday Ian. And I met up with Ellie. Steve, thank you so much. Vicky Brown, oh that's kind of you Vicky. Chris, hello Chris. I've got with me, look, I've got little Millie there. Oh, come here. Hello, alright. I've got little Millie's, hello Portia. Portia, there's Millie. Right, here we go. We're just going to pass over to cameraman. Right, if we just hold that, let go of that, let me have my cable. Right, so get me outside, get the wire untangled. Right, we've got Millie with us. Right, we're outside HMP The Mount, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be embarking on a walk, another charity walk. If you remember a little while back, see what we're getting, funny looks from the prison officers, right? So we did a charity walk a couple of years ago, in the coldest winter actually on record, and Millie walked all the way to Manchester with myself and Big Dylan and a few others to raise awareness of the whistleblowing campaign, but also to expose the cover-ups around child abuse. And a highly successful walk, and we raised a substantial amount of money for charity. We're going to be doing another walk, this time the same agenda. However, we're going to be going from London, from Parliament Square to Rainbow Woods, and we're going to go via the Thames, follow the Thames path, and then we're going to be going through some of the canals. Again, the canals are poignant because of the canals with the paedophiles that were living on boats and hiding. So we're going to be going along the way, hopefully ramping up support as we go, trying to do some podcasts, some interviews along the way, and then we're going to be ending up in Rainbow Woods. So we're outside of prison where Pepsi Watson, who was my cameraman and my compadre in all this, is now serving time. Now I want to talk about Pepsi in a minute. We're going to take a slow walk up towards the prison. We'll see how far we can go before we'll turn back. Darren Jeffries, if you remember, aka Darren Layton, gave a tremendous account, not only with the John Wedger Foundation, but also with Sean Atwood, and it's getting now global recognition for what he endured as a kid. And also he talks about his life of crime, and Darren went on to spend, I think he ended up something like with a 35-year prison sentence for a variety of armed robberies, and the guy who sentenced him was actually one of his abusers. We hear Darren's got a procedure coming up in hospital, so let's send Darren as much love and support as we can. But Pepsi has just found out that in order for him to be released, he has to undergo a course. Now this course is in different sections, and some of it isn't available in this prison, The Mount. Pepsi has been locked up since the beginning of the year. We're now in the 8th month, pushing the 9 months. It's nearly 9 months without trial. He has been banged up, and they've had full lockdown, 23.5-hour lockdown with no visitors. He's losing his mind. Okay, he's a good guy who speaks out about the cover-ups, and he's a solid campaigner for our movement. And he's always been supportive and does the videos, the editing to a professional standard. Pepsi's just now been told in order for him to qualify for parole, he's got to undergo a course. If he does every module in this course, it could take 5 years. He's done nothing wrong. He's had no trial. 5 years before he gets out. He was swooped off the streets in South London The probation service had the police ready, and then they took him and banged him up in here. Absolutely appalling. Right, so we're going to start a letter writing campaign. We want letters written to a bloke called Jamie Grierson, who's the Home Affairs correspondent for The Guardian. He needs to be flooded with letters, this guy, as does the Home Office, Priti Patel and the Minister for Justice. They need to be hammered with letters, so I'm appealing to people, please get writing letters. Myself and Nancy Devereux are going to be trying to get a draft together. We need this guy out, he's done nothing wrong. So we're going to take a little walk up here now, and so part of what we do, if we look at this Crown property thing, we've got you know, is a little lead out what it's gone. This has just gone up, HMP The Mount. Now, before it was just The Mount, they took HMP off. If we look at the sign, here, this here used to have, if we picked that off, used to have HMP. And then it's just got The Mount. Now, for some reason, these new signs have gone up. Oh, Millie's strangling herself. No, Millie. These new signs, eh? Yeah, I know. These new signs have come out, and they've got HMP has just been written on there. Okay, and then well, we'll take a wander up there and we'll see if we get stopped. We get to, so it's Molyneaux Avenue is where the prison is. Are we allowed dogs up here? It don't look like it. So let's just walk up to the bit. Yeah, on the lead. Yeah, on the lead. They said. So you know, the one thing that I do, I like to do everything within the parameters of the law. You know, so it looks like we've already got some attention from the prison security staff. There's a car stopped here. I applied for a visiting order for Pepsi, and that has been declined because they said I'm not family, despite the fact that I am on his list. So he's put me on his list, you know. Millie's just taking a breather, right? Right. So we got Pepsi that he's been locked up 23 hours a day through that scorching hot temperatures. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. You know, there's been a violation of something to do with his probation, which is a matter which could have dealt with by a verbal reprimand. It didn't need him serving a 9-month prison sentence for no reason, and he's being denied a parole hearing. So if we have any people with sort of any legal assistance, oh, a cameraman went then, legal assistance, come over this way then, please get in touch. People are always saying we want to help, well, let's get right in. So I'm going to be starting to advertise the walk, so there's going to be myself, Big Dylan, the ex-paratrooper who comes along with a lot of what we do. We're going to be starting off, and we're going to be with Millie, and we're going to be starting off from Parliament Square. It's going to be mid-October. We're going to want a big support team as we leave. We're going to be making our way then along the Thames Path all the way towards Windsor, where we'll be picking up the Inland Waterways network and making our way from there all the way to Rainbow Woods. Now, if we look at some of the stuff that we've been interviewing, some of the people we've been interviewing, we get more and more, as people will see, victims of satanic ritual abuse. And part of the things that they do with satanic ritual abuse is that they do these hunger games where the kids are stripped naked or scantily clothed and made in the middle of the night to run. They are then chased. They are always caught because they're outnumbered. They're frightened. They know what's going to happen. When they're caught, they are whipped and beaten with sticks, and then they are sodomised. And sometimes these children have been dying. Now, Darren Jeffrey's account didn't have any mention of ritualistic stuff. However, the practices were highly satanic, and we are seeing more and more and more of these accounts coming out. Bear in mind, you know, the official narrative that Satanism is a myth. You know, what we're looking at now is our freedom of information requests are coming back. Before we had 12 convictions over, I think, something like a 15-year period in the UK courts. All of a sudden, we have received nearly 100 official, 100 official clarifications of crimes of Satanism. 100, right? And that's what we've had. So here we are. We're over at the Mount Prison. If we can just get a shot of the Mount in front of us, we'll just wander down shortly down to here. I think it is a change of staff coming in, because there's a lot of the uniform boys coming and going. Again, it's I think it's category B, but there's category A prisoners in there. You know, he is deemed, they've deemed him as a medium risk for some reason. He is absolutely no risk. And not only that, why is he not tagged? Or why is he not then put into an open prison? So, you know, that's the things we're looking at. You know, why is that not done? So we'll just go down to here, and if you could just get a shot of me outside, and then we'll wander back. We'll wander back down. Don't want to get to the gate, and then you know, we're getting a few looks now. Getting a few looks now. So we go out. You know, it's not my job to antagonise anyone. And again, so if you come round, I'll stand here. If you want to come round the back there and just get a little shot. So when your letters come through, they end up coming through to here, to the gate. They've got their, I think, watch your back, this guy's coming in. Oh no, they're going into their security. You know, on there you've got the official coronavirus policy there, on there. There's no drones allowed. And that's the main gate in and out. And I know they get a little bit funny about people viewing it because their cars are here and all that. So I sort of get that, you know. But your letters come through. This is Molyneaux Avenue in Bovingdon in Hemel Hempstead. Over there, just over the other side of there is where poor Pepsi is. Let's try and get him out. And this is what we see happening all the time when people are standing out speaking up. This is where they end up. And if we look at what happened with Darren, you know, he was end up given this monumental prison sentence, I think of 36 years, and the guy who gave it to him was one of his abusers. So the judge was one of the people that was going in there and abusing him. You know, and this is what has to stop. It really does. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop straight away. Okay. So what we're going to do is say keep up. We'll walk up now. Keep up your letters coming in. You know, keep the support coming in for him. You know, and let's see where we can go. And then we've written. Sorry, mate. We won't get you in. We won't get you in. Just doing a podcast, all right. We're saying good things anyway. We're saying good things. You know, member of staff there. You know, I've written to the governor, and funny enough, the governor of this building is called Katie Price. So if you want to write to Katie Price, you can do. You can see the main bit of the building in the background over there. So it's surprising. None of the staff have been out. You know, to be honest, we've had a few little glares, but I just thought I'd come out, do a little podcast, drum up a little bit of support for Mr. Pepsi, and also then take this opportunity. To sort of advertise the walk that Millie's going to be coming on. You know, poor old Millie. You know, Millie's now. If you want to get in front now, there's Millie. Millie, don't get worn out now. You've got to walk to Bristol. Millie's getting on now. I think Millie's about 11 years old. If you see Millie, she comes swimming with me. Millie walked to Manchester. She bit a paedophile on me, which is she uses as a little accolade. And we'll be going through. No, because I've got this cable, right? So please, we'll be putting out for sponsorship for the walk. Again, only give what you want if you want to, and if you do want to give, then only give what you can afford. The money will be going to our campaigning, and also there will be a donation made to a charity which will be nominated by Chris Lambriano. And again, if any of you remember Chris Lambriano, he was the ex-member of the Craytons gang who went away for the murder of Jack the Hat Maviti, and he got sentenced to life imprisonment with a recommendation of 15 years served, and he served every single day. Chris now spends his time, he's a committed Christian, he's a good friend of Jesus, and he spends his time going around helping victims and survivors of abuse that end up in drug and alcohol rehab centres, which is unfortunately the natural progression of where he ends up. So, God, we're getting some right bizarre looks off the staff, you know, very strange looks, you know. So, but that's very weird. Why that become a private prison, the Mount? It was HMP. They relinquished the HMP, and now the sign's gone back in saying it's Crown property. Very strange that they would then, whether or not Serco are no longer in charge of this building, and the government has taken it back. I'm really not sure, so I don't know if anyone wants to look into that for us. So please, if we're going to keep going, this is the podcasting season now. I want to get as many interviews in as we can. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to face another lockdown. Again, I believe that a lot of this mask wearing is a symbolic thing of shutting your mouth, you know, and total compliance. We're seeing what's happening in America with Trump and his government. We're actually, if we believe the narrative, that they are actually doing something about paedophiles in positions of prominence. We're hearing nothing from our government. But then again, if we're looking at our government, so many of them have been named, and we've got serving politicians that are named on the RAINS list as paedophiles. You know, one person approached me the other day, and they wanted to write to their MP. They said, we want to write to our MP about paedophile politicians and their involvement with Satanism. So I said, well, who's your MP? They went, Peter Bottomley. I went, well, I wouldn't bother if I was you. Save the price of a stamp. Because if we look, he's mentioned on the RAINS list. So, and this is a problem, and it's the same with commissioners of police and chief constables. You know, if we look, we had Chief Constable of Hampshire on there, and we had a chief superintendent who was in charge of vice. So he was in charge of children that are at risk of sexual exploitation. You know, he is named. His name is Michael Hames. Chief Superintendent Michael Hames. He is named on the RAINS list. He had governance for vulnerable women and vulnerable children at risk of sexual exploitation. And if we look at the phenomenal testimony, the interview with Nikki Cooper, Nikki, the former street worker, who's now working very closely alongside us. I want to promote Nikki. Nikki is going independent. She's affiliated to the John Wedger Foundation, but she is going forward to do her own podcast. All right. Okay. So if we look at what if we look at what Nikki Cooper said, she said there was an inspector at West End Central Police Station who was, I'm going to stand by this sign, maybe get over there, an inspector at West End Central Police Station who the jurisdictional governance for Soho, where the runaway kids, the vulnerable kids, the sexually exploited kids would end up in the street, he was offering £500 per runaway child, right? This is a fact. It's not just Nikki, others have come forward and said that this happened, right? You know, was this guy ever held accountable? We don't know, right? But he would have known Chief Superintendent Michael Hames, he would have known him. So let's start a letter writing campaign to the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police and saying, you know, can we ask, what were the Metropolitan Police's professional standards aware that Michael Hames, Chief Superintendent Michael Hames, who had governance for sexually exploited and vulnerable children and women, he is named on a list of satanic, not just attendees, but practitioners. Okay, and if we listen to all of the testimonials of victims of SRA, Satanism, child abuse is a very minimum of what they do. These kill children, they eat body parts of the children. You know, they torture children, they bugger children, and all that. So if this is the truth, which I no doubt it is the truth, I think the facts speak for themselves, the testimonies speak for themselves. We have a former chief superintendent in charge of vulnerable and sex exploited women and children attending these ceremonies. Now is that right? I can't. Battery gone, is it? It's going. My battery's going. My cameraman said my battery's going. That's okay. So if that is the case, then what are we going to do about it? We know about it, people. What are we going to do about it? So I've started my letter writing for this. Let's see what I can do about it. Get a letter drafted so people can sort of cut and paste this letter, and then send it off to. Let's have it sent off to the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. Let's have it sent off to the Police and Crime Minister, and let's have it sent off to the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, and see what she's doing, because Priti Patel is unaware of satanic ritual abuse. So let's make her aware. Everything must be done respectfully. No swearing, no accusations. We ask questions. Don't be libelous. We ask questions, and we're going to be asking, what are the police doing about it if they know about it? If they don't know about it, well, they know about it now. What they're going to do, and if they know or they didn't know that this guy was involved, in what way would his position as a commander of a highly specialised and very sensitive unit, has he in any way been compromised, or any of the investigations been compromised? So so please, let's watch this space now. Just come forward now. We're gonna have to I'm gonna have to start cut and share, right? So bear with me. So there we go. So this is, oh, what's that message? Right, yeah, I'm going to flip it round. All right. So right, we're going to finish now. God bless everyone. What we're doing on our views, 308, fantastic viewing figures.